All right. Awesome. Well, Pedro, we are so glad that you're with us. We're going to give just a second for people to come in from the waiting room. I see participants are beginning to trickle in. We're so grateful for you making time out of your full schedule. We understand you just had a speaking engagement with some students, and Scott and I are just thrilled that in between everything that you're doing, you've made time to share insights and lessons that you've learned with the Every Youth, Every Facility Coalition. And just as a heads up to everyone, we are recording today's session. We're also live on the Every Youth, Every Facility Facebook page. So if you have a minute to go to the Every Youth, Every Facility Facebook page and hit share, then you can share today's presentation with your network and help get the word out. So with that, I want to just take a second to thank my co-host, Dr. Scott Larson, founder and president of Straight Ahead Ministries, and introduce our special guest for this month's In the Know, uh, Pedro Rodriguez, soon to be Dr. Pedro Rodriguez, founder and president of Urban Youth Justice in the Tampa, Florida area. Pedro is a leader um, uh, in many rights, has a long background in juvenile justice ministry, and I alluded to the fact that he is a doctoral candidate. And so just so grateful for him being with us today to share about the remarkable work he and his team are doing in Central Florida. So to get us kicked off, I'm going to turn it over to you, Scott, to start the conversation.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Yeah, the doctor is all good and the reverend, but the biggest credential Pedro has is he's been there, locked up as a kid in New Jersey, and now having, I can't say free reign necessarily, but he's got more access to juvenile prisons than anybody I know in Florida and Tennessee. Places closed all over, and he's going gangbusters. And so there's some things that I think God has given Pedro that are really working, and we wanted to share that with those of you who are also on this call in the know and doing work in juvenile facilities. So uh, one of them is just Pedro, how you've been able to um, develop true multi-ethnic coalitions and teams of people that are going in to facilities, and you're able to kind of pull them together and do it as almost a one-time event to get people in the door without having to go through all the large background check, things like that. But you've assembled teams that are going in all over. And talk a little bit how you've done that and how you're getting them in and how you're recruiting these amazing people through social media and other things.
Sure, sure. First, I'll say thank you, Scott. Thank you, Eugene, for this opportunity to share all the wonderful things God is doing through this ministry. As you know, I had been volunteering with a few organizations before I launched Urban Youth Justice, and my prayer was, Lord, I need a team. I need a team to be able to really reach so many facilities in Florida, so many youth that need to hear the gospel, as I know that's the mission of every youth, every facility. And so I was intentional. I think the key word is being intentional to seeking out brothers and sisters in a diverse community, which Tampa and other counties that I work in or hang out in and have friends in have a lot of diversity. In my town, there really isn't a lot of diversity, and that was a little discouraging in the beginning when I was trying to build a team. But God has provided me people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different talents, and my thing was to build relationships with them, spend time with them, provide some training through some of the resources you guys have offered us, and just spending time with them so that we can form a strong team and go in together. Because when we go inside the facilities, there's diversity there as well. We see African American youth, we see Hispanic, we see Caucasian youth. So we want people from all the different walks of life to be able to go in and share with them, even if they've never been incarcerated themselves, but maybe they have a father that was lacking in the home, or they experienced violence or some type of tragedy or trauma in their life. they have a story, they have something to offer the youth.
Say a little bit, Pedro, how you're able to get in, and they pretty much have all the youth come out to your program. So when most of us go in and do a Bible study, it's a long process to get that approved. And, they say, who wants to go to Bible study? And if there's 20 kids in there, 3 or 4 don't like the movie they're watching, so they show up. But you're able to do a couple things. One, you're able to get a broad team in there, and many of them have backgrounds, have been locked up as kids. Focus it as an event versus necessarily all of them as ongoing Bible studies. And then you're able to pull it together in a way that the facility is having all the kids come out, sometimes in a couple different groups, but a unique model that you
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. Yeah, no, I lost you on, I lost sound for a little bit. Okay, so in the beginning, we had to put the team through background checks. Many of them have been cleared. We've never really had any issues with anyone getting in. I know COVID kind of changed some things for us here. At least that's been our experience, where when they started to let volunteers back in, they were focusing more on the safety measures of wearing masks and, having to fill out a sheet, ask you a few questions, take your temperature. We haven't really had any facilities press us, to make sure everyone is clear. A lot of times they're just thinking, okay, well, it might just be once, but we've always had good reception from the staff, where they love what we do, and they see the reaction from the kids, and they want to invite us back. So they're like, hey, keep coming. We want you to come back. So I think a lot of it is like, I think they sense our love for the kids and how genuine we are with them, that I'm not sure what they're doing on their end to make sure we're clear, but we're not getting any obstacles as we were in the beginning to getting volunteers in anymore. They just really want us to keep coming and continue making an impact on the youth.
Yeah, when I look at your social media posts of the teams you're bringing in, I can see why. I mean, this looks like quite a crew that you're very diverse. I know you bring in a lot of people who bring their hip hop stuff in with them, their music, their testimonies. So when you're doing these events that are kind of like, you make the bar low enough that people will come in for one time and then they get hooked and do many more. What's the structure of what you do when you guys go in and are able to get every kid out?
Yeah, my first thing is to make contact with the staff via email, letting them know, we really would like every youth present. The only time where they may not have some youth present are if those youth are being aggressive or they're understaffed and they feel it's going to be a safety hazard, with fights breaking out. But for us, I would say about 90% of the time, they themselves want every youth present. They let them know that it is they call it church. So, we come in and the first thing we do is greet the kids as they're coming into the room, make them feel welcome. We introduce ourselves. We might have a little small brief talk with them, and then we get right into what we normally do, which I usually give an introduction of who we are, why we're there, why what we offer them is important. And then we go right into sharing testimonies. And then we go into the music part. We have different artists that will share some of their songs, their talents. And then at the end, we'll have an opportunity for prayer. And we close out, maybe with a few last words of encouragement for them. And that's pretty much it. We're there maybe an hour. Some facilities give us 2 hours, but that's usually because they have more children. So we try to, sometimes we have to split up the youth into 2 different sets. So we'll do 1 hour with half the kids and then the other hour with the other half.
Yeah, I think a couple of things you mentioned are really important. One is that it's a set time period. So facilities know when you're going to do an hour, you're going to do an hour. And you're talking about I think you mentioned it before, a tri-fold approach, which is testimony that's crisp from these people. A lot of people you brought in have a background of some sort, if not being locked up, at least similar to connecting to the kids. Music,
Yes.
and you know, you've had some do worship, some that do their own pop, and then a short theme message. And then you said a lot of times they want to meet with you guys individually for prayer. So you bring enough people in that you can break off and do that as well, all within an hour. And you know, this is
Yes.
yeah. So you mentioned, I know you're in the Tampa area, a little bit outside of there. You don't have the diversity in your community that you're necessarily bringing in to the facilities. So how do you recruit people? Social media, or you know, what ways are you?
Yes. Yeah, what I've noticed that has happened mostly, I mean, I have posted on social media months back, even before COVID, you know, that we were seeking volunteers, that I always post on social media the need that these youth have for mentors, the importance of that. And then I also, you know, speak to people in my community. I attend different outreaches. So a lot of times I'll go personally to some outreaches where churches are gathered, and I'll talk to people face to face and let them know a little bit about what we do. And if they're interested, I have business cards, flyers that I give out. But a lot of the people that I have recruited to the team have actually reached out to me because of the consistency in my social media campaign, if you want to call it that. You know, like I really post it a lot so that people can see, you know, not what we're doing, but what God is doing through us. And so many people have actually inboxed me, private messaged me and say, hey man, I really love what you guys are doing. How can I get involved? And so I set up a private conversation with them on phone or Zoom, and just kind of, it's like an informal, you know, brief interview, just seeing where they're at, if they're connected to a local church, you know, if they've done this kind of ministry before, you know, why do they want to do juvenile? You know, I kind of go through a series of questions, get to know them, share a little bit of the mission and vision we have, and give them a little description of, you know, what are like some expectations. I provide them with a calendar if they are going to join the team. We have a calendar we follow every month. It's getting pretty full now, more than before COVID. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do to recruit the young, you know, the men and women that have joined the team.
Well, Pedro, you know, one of the things I found so remarkable, and Scott alluded to this at the top, is you might be, your team might be more active now than you were before COVID in terms of ministering inside facilities. Tell us a little bit about how you were able to leverage the relationships that you have to be able to have folks feel safe enough to have your teams come in. I think folks would want to know about that. What's your process?
Yeah, I've a lot of it is you know, word of mouth, but I've connected with a few people. I've actually started to use LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn has been an excellent source for us. A lot of the facility administrators and some of the people that run these facilities are on there, and we've been posting there, and I've been getting requests. But it's been really just connecting with the right people, establishing relationships, letting them see what we do. And I've had facility administrators, for example, on Sunday when we went to Ocala, it was a youth at YOI facility, youth opportunity. And the facility administrator came up to us. He says, are you guys doing other YOI facilities? And I was like, yes. He's like, oh, because I would love for you to go here, there. He was naming all these cities that we've actually already done. And he's like, oh, so you're all set. I was gonna connect you guys to the next. So it's just been like, you know, one person linking us to the next person, and just, you know, continuing to have good relationships. My wife handles a lot of the administrative stuff, so she'll stay in contact also through our Urban Youth Justice email with some of the staff members, and you know, we just try to communicate with them regularly. asking them, like, hey, when would you like? We like for them to invite us, not just us saying, hey, can we come? But we like to say, hey, when would you like for us to come out? And they always seem to be excited. Oh yeah, well, you guys can come next week when you want to. So they're pretty open, and they have even flexed their schedule around to accommodate us. 'Cause the kids have school during the day. They may have another church that goes there for whatever, and then they have visitation. So they always fit us into their schedule somehow, and we work out our schedule to be able to service the kids.
Good. So obviously not everything's a home run. So what things have you found aren't working particularly well, or when you go in, you're like, well, that was a miss, somebody got too long-winded, or, whatever. What things, have not worked well? And then what do you think has worked the best? Like, what's made it so, like, what staff see kids do that well? Like,
Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit there. Can you
yeah,
repeat the question, Scott?
yeah, what things have not worked that well, because you've tried a lot of stuff. So so everybody on the call doesn't, I like to learn what didn't work for you so I don't spend my time doing it. What hasn't worked well with bringing in all these, and then what has worked the best?
Yeah. Yes, yes. All right. So I'll tell you a few things that I've learned so far in the last year of some things that didn't quite work so well and some things that are working well. In the beginning, when I got an outpouring of so many people that wanted to come on the team, we started going in sometimes 10 people. So I realized, sometimes bringing too many is not the best thing, although I like to have a few people with me, because sometimes, trying to giving everyone opportunity to speak can be obviously more than an hour, and we don't want to overwhelm the kids with too much information at one time. So I realized having less is more. They just can share maybe a testimony or two and some music, and then focus on the prayer part and just some relationship building, having some conversation time with them. We share contact information with them, so when they come home, they know they have someone they can call and maybe get connected with a mentor or help them get a job. We try to focus on aftercare as well. But also during COVID, we tried doing Zoom, and that didn't go so well because of technical issues on their end. We did send DVDs inside, which that seemed to be better because they had it in their possession and they used old technology methods like DVD players and stuff. But when it came to like internet access and having to use someone's cell phone or someone's laptop to get on Zoom, it was real glitchy. And at times we would be in the middle of a session with them, and it would cut off. The Zoom call would drop or something, or so that was a little rough during that time. But yeah, now we realize since COVID, when we got clear to go back in, the rule across the state was that only 3 volunteers could go in at one time. And so I started going in with just me and 2 other people. And I realized that was a lot more powerful than when we were going in with so many. Now they're starting to release us, and I have been able to bring maybe 4 or 5, but I'm not trying to bring 10 people with me anymore.
Yeah, no, those are good lessons, man. So a couple questions have come in. Pedro, we have folks from Illinois on, Ohio, New Hampshire, Virginia, Massachusetts. And so I just want to get to some of their questions.
Sure.
One of the questions says, how have you overcome funding hurdles for your staff? And how have you been able to build adequate resources?
Well, the funding, right now we're completely on a volunteer basis. We have begun fundraising methods. New methods. We're learning still about fundraising. We have considered, after becoming 501c3, applying for like grants that would allow us to work with kids outside that's still kind of in the works. Still, learning about it and finding the funding for it. So we're still trying to figure all that out as far as funding. I do have an accountant and a few nonprofit leaders on my board who are kind of helping me navigate through that. But yeah, we don't have all that figured out yet, honestly. But we have been blessed to raise funds enough to be able to travel and cover us, on a simple basis where we're at least able to eat and have I have been able to pay some of the people that come with me, a minimal amount, just for their help. But we're not really like paying salaries or anything like that. I'm still hoping to be able to get a salary for doing this as just becoming more full time than part time.
One of the things,
In regards to gathering resources, I would say that I would credit to you guys. Every youth art facility has been great in providing us an immense amount of resources, which have helped us navigate through the COVID with the DVDs I mentioned earlier, and just with the training, some of Scott's books, materials, lessons that I used to use to teach inside. Yeah, it's been great, and I've actually attended some conferences where I was able to meet other people who are doing what we do and get I have Prison Book Project who donates free resources like Bibles, devotionals for males and females in the detention centers. So I get a box delivered to each facility at my request, and they have provided us, really nice Bibles and great resources for the kids on the inside, and that helps save us. That helps save a lot of money right there, just that alone.
yeah,
And,
one of the things, Pedro, I see on your Facebook, which is very, very active, which always you're going in and you're putting things up that you're raising money for there. So it seems like that's some of where you're doing some crowdfunding kind of stuff, and maybe Eugene can put in the chat box just how people can follow you, because just
Yeah.
following you gives you a lot of creative ideas.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. One person asked if you could share just a brief your testimony of how you came to faith when you were locked up, and maybe how that influences how you minister now.
Yeah, I came to well, in a nutshell, I grew up fatherless. Mother was on drugs, so I ran the streets for about a good decade. Lost and broken, very hurt and angry with life and the fact that my parents, were a mess. And I did a lot of things that I regret. But in my early 20s, a young lady invited me to church, and I heard the gospel for the first time, and it really just rocked me and opened my eyes and gave me ears to hear, and I responded to the gospel. But being in detention, my mother actually dropped me off at the detention once because of how rebellious I was. She turned me in because after my father's passing, I didn't show her any type of respect, and so the streets just shaped me into being rebellious and cold-hearted, and the Lord had a different plan and rescued me from that lifestyle. And so, but I know what it's like to be in there, feeling like you have no hope, like you're about to, I was close to doing prison time actually. I reached county jail as an adult, but God had a different plan and pulled me out of that before it got worse. But yeah, I was definitely not on a good path. And so because of that is why I have a passion to reach out to young kids before they end up in prison, because many of them are playing with their futures, because in Florida, they like to direct file kids that are 15 and 16 and sentence them to adult prisons, and we're really trying to stop that. We're really trying to make a mark in that, and hope that somehow we can help save a kid that may have taken it that far, and maybe at detention they'll make a decision to change and allow God to work in their lives before they end up losing 20-30 years of their life in the system.
Pedro, so in addition to all the states I named earlier, we have folks from Texas and your home state of Florida. In fact, one of your, forgive the pun, one of your partners in crime, Frank Jones is on. Frank says
Hey,
something,
Frank, what's up, Frank?
and Frank wants to know, talk about young people who reach out to you once they're released, and what are some of the strategies that you use to provide support when kids are home from lockup?
Yeah, that's my favorite part, Eugene. That's why we really, I emphasize that, like, at least for the last 5 minutes of my time with them, like, please, give us a call. I hate to see kids come out and then end up back inside the building again, or worse, find that they're on the news because something even more tragic happened. And so we really emphasize, contact us. And I've been contacted by several youth. My wife, by a young lady. We've had some of the other team members have been contacted by youth, and I emphasize to everyone on the team, the first thing is just take that kid out for lunch. Just sit down with that kid, have some lunch with them, and sit down with and come up with a plan. A lot of them, they don't have goals, they don't have any plan, they don't know how to take the first step. And I've been successful in helping some kids. First thing is to help them find a job. Kids that find a job are significantly, less likely to get in trouble. And again, with the law, when they're working and they're doing something positive and it's keeping them busy off the streets. So I emphasize heavy about, helping them find a job, helping them choose a career path, and just helping them set goals alone. That's a big step in helping reduce, the possibility of them returning back to detention.
You've been able to, Pedro, another program, and some are asking about this, and I know you call it something different, but like a 6 or 10 week reentry program that you set up in facilities before kids are getting ready to get out. What do you cover in that? And that's an ongoing program, different than some of the earlier things we talked about.
Yes, yes. Yeah, well, honestly, I was inspired by you, Scott, with I know all that you do with reentry, and I know that that's a big, huge piece that's been missing in a lot of the volunteer services that are offered at these facilities. I talk to people time and time again, and there's really not too many that are doing aftercare or reentry work, and so I made that a part of our focus, and so we really focus heavily on the life skills piece now. I was able to connect with Brooksville Youth Academy. Mr. Crenshaw, I asked him, hey, do you have anything like this? We had a long conversation. I went to his office and he told me the kids are in transition for 60 days. During those 60 days is where I come in and teach about an 8-week curriculum. It's a longer curriculum, but I condense it into about 8 weeks. And we really focus on decision making, smart goals, beliefs, attitudes, different things. Just helping them. It starts with them in the mindset first. And then once they can start thinking different, believing, the right things about themselves, about the world they live in, the behavior begins to change. So we focus heavily on that. Of course, we use biblical principles in the life skills, but the curriculum I use is not necessarily a biblical curriculum. It's a general curriculum that is used at prisons with adults and with youth. It's called Merging Two Worlds. You can find it online for free and download it. I have a physical copy of it that I printed out. It's quite extensive. It goes into money management. There's a lot of great topics that it covers. If you want to do the whole full curriculum, but I really just condense it into the main things they need to really know before they get released in the next 60 days. And then we give them a certificate, at the end, and they seem to be excited about that. Either a certificate of participation or certificate of participation. And that's what we've been doing. Then we throw them like a little party, and I'll bring like some artists to come and do some music, and we'll give them some food, and so we kind of do that like periodically with them and stuff, and it seems to be going well right now. The class is pretty small, like 10 or less, so it's an intimate group, but there's a lot of engagement, a lot of Q&A that happens, and the kids seem to be very involved.
Pedro, we want to we want to say thank you. We are at the end of our time. How do folks stay connected with you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook under my name, Pedro Rodriguez, or we have the Urban Youth Justice Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram, and I'm also I also have a website, uyjinc.org. I see you just posted. Yeah, all my information is correct. There it is. Yeah. So yeah, you can inbox me or just contact box on the website, or feel free to text me, call me. I'm pretty I'm good at getting back to people and open for conversation. Anybody has any questions that I didn't answer on this call, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to talk some more about it.
Awesome, Pedro. Well, we thank you for your leadership. We thank you for obeying the call on your life. We thank you for the husband and the father that you are and the leader. And please join us next month, third Thursday for In the Know, 2 p.m. where we'll have another great juvenile justice ministry expert. Check out everyyouth.org for more information. All right, everybody. God bless. Have a great afternoon. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Thank you all. God bless. Take care. All right. Merry Christmas.